who started a podcast if it isn't Bean and Big Giver? Who would have thunk that we would have started a podcast? But here we are with episode 1 of the Game of Life. So hopefully we'll carry this on and it won't be like all the previous projects we started where we come up with a brilliant idea and never carry on with it.
Don't expose us.
But yeah, here we are with the podcast. I am so excited to get started on this. I have been, Gabby obviously knows that I have been sitting here for the last couple weeks non-stop talking about this podcast. So hopefully it exceeds the audience's expectations. But anyway, moving on. When this podcast comes out, we should be in 2021. So congrats to everyone who has made it through 2020. I believe we all deserve a round of applause for that. So, but here's to the ending of a terrible year, and hopefully this year will be better. So, everyone cross your fingers and pray that 2021 is a lot better than 2020. But speaking of endings, Gabby and I have just finished our first semester of college. So, how was that for you?
It was an experience.
As expected.
I feel like, honestly, it was a lot more laid back than high school, which I was not expecting. Like, a lot of the teachers I had would be like, "Oh, it's gonna be worse in college," or "Oh, it's gonna be so much harder." And I was low-key terrified, but like I settled into it well, I think. How about you?
I feel the same. I feel like I think high school, they kind of like put the expectations a lot higher and the standards and everything, and then you kind of get to college. I mean, obviously we've only been through a semester, but you kind of get through college and it's just so much more relaxed. And I feel like a lot of that comes from the fact that we have the freedom to manage our time a little more and kind of pick like when and where our classes are. So, our schedules are a lot more open. Like, that's just something that like I had, like, where, I had a whole day in the middle of the week that I just didn't have classes because that's just how my schedule ended up being. And that's when I like got all my work done. But yeah, definitely a lot more laid back than high school. So, for all the high schoolers out there,
don't stress. It'll get better.
It'll get better. Yes, it will. And I think this is something that we will definitely cover in future podcasts where we talk about all the differences between high school and college. But for today, we are just reflecting on our past semester, essentially. So, Gabby here has actually goes to a college out of state. We are both from California, the Bay Area. I go to an in-state college, and Gabby goes out of state. So I did want to ask you, actually, so because obviously, like, we haven't talked much through the first semester, and, we just came out of finals and everything. So I did want to ask you how that was to kind of move out of state and finally be, like, in a very different location and in a very different environment from where we were during high school. So how was that for you?
Well, the quarantine was a pain, but other than that, I guess there were a few cultural differences. Like, there are a lot of things. My school is primarily like New Yorkers, since it is like a state school. Like, I think I only met like maybe 5 people from out of state out of like 50.
Dang. Those are like odds that I did not expect, honestly.
I was surprised too.
Because I always feel like there's so many more people out of state,
Right. But I think it's similar to the UCs where like they take in more Californians than people out of state just because it's a state school.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, you did get to experience dorm life. I didn't.
I did.
I stayed at home for the semester, unfortunately. So, I always had my little cousin running through my door during classes and just staring at my professors. every now and then.
You definitely
But
saved a lot, though, I'm sure. Dorming is expensive.
I mean, yeah, so in terms of finance, definitely, like, saved a lot of money in terms of staying on campus and just, like, dorm fees, and then, like, obviously, what is it? Like, food and just, like, all the extra stuff that I would have had to pay for. So, financially, I personally think that it was better to stay at home. But obviously, in terms of, like, experience and just kind of finally getting to move out and go somewhere else. It's, missing out on the dorm life is something that I'm not happy to be missing out on, but it was kind of inevitable at a certain point. Like, we talked about it with my family, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, financially and personally, it's just not the best idea for me to go to a dorm in this during a pandemic,
Right.
obviously. But how was dorm life for you?
I really liked my dorm. I've shared a room my whole life. Okay, maybe not my whole life, but most of my life. And having my own space was definitely like something I needed. I didn't realize it until I got there, but it was nice to have my own space. I also like decorating it a lot. That was super fun.
Oh my gosh, wait, did you do like all the cute decor that like wait, I never got to see your dorm because we never when the few calls that we did have, we just kind of sat there and caught up. So
Pretty much. I could show it to you when I get back.
Yes. Oh my god, I'm kind of excited now. Because I'm living through you, okay? My dorm experience
Is me?
is through you, and then our other friends, like in our circle, that are going out to like their campuses and whatnot. But no, I'm stuck in my room for next semester as well, because I ended up not I'm throwing the excuse out that I let the deadline pass to turn in my housing application, but in reality, I knew that I wasn't gonna go either way. So I'm living through you, Gabby. I'm living through you.
Let me know if you want more dorm, like any dorm tours or anything. More dorm tours. I've never given you a tour.
Gabby just calls me one day, so this is where I sleep.
Honestly, there's not that much to see because all I did was put up lights and like a poster and maybe like fake plants. That's all my room has.
You know what? That's better than my room, okay? Like, because we moved in with my uncle, right? So I just kind of got, like, the only room that was left over. And I have, like, one wall that's in front of me this way. That's just this, like, low-key, ugly shade of green. And you can't really do much with it. And then, for anyone that's, like, watching on YouTube, you can see behind me, but this is all just blank wall and like the random window on this side. So there's really nothing fun about this room except the fact that I have a room to myself, I guess. So yeah, definitely not the biggest fan of staying at home. I would have liked to go out and get away from the family for a little bit. Mom, if you're listening, I love you guys.
You sure about that?
Don't question it. Next thing I know, she's barging into my room. Just like, what did you just say? But, how was, wow, I just blanked for a second.
All good.
But, obviously we are both, done with our first semester and, made it through. What was it? We both had 4 classes each, I think. And, finals week has just ended and we're all done and finally, like, finished with that first semester. That first, like, very, iffy semester, I would say. Because, not only because of the pandemic, but also just nerves going into college.
Right.
And, being like, whoa, this is different from high school. So, I feel like one of the things that we should talk about in this podcast is just like how first semester went in terms of academics, I guess. So I guess I'll start off
Go
with
for
that,
it.
But Personally, I would say, I think one of the good things that came out of quarantine was the fact that we had a lot of time to think, right? And, that got me to kind of like thinking about my work habits and my work ethic and just like the way I was studying and preparing for school and my academic life. And one of the things that quarantine kind of helped me come to, and, at perfect timing as well, because right before college, I kind of just like thought about how I was working in high school and how I was not particularly satisfied with how I was working in high school. So I was able to kind of turn around my work ethic. In high school, it was all about procrastinating and, not really getting things done until they needed to be done. But I think one of the reasons that I've done a lot better in my first semester of college is the fact that I've been able to do all my work ahead of time and just kind of get things done way before they had to be done. So, that gave me a lot of time, like a lot of free time, to obviously set things up like this podcast, for example. And, just work on other things. And obviously, because of quarantine, we're not allowed to kind of go outside and do fun things outside. But it did give me a lot of time to spend with my family and stuff since I am at home for the semester. But in terms of just academics, I feel like I'm so much more satisfied with how I've done this semester and just, like, as unfortunate as it sounds that I had to stay at home for the semester and everything, I am kind of happy because it's changed my habits a lot, my work habits and my study habits. So, yeah, hopefully those will carry on. I mean, we'll see.
I have
You never
faith.
know. Halfway through next semester, I might be like Gabby. I'm late to all my assignments. I've been missing classes. I'm procrastinating again. But the hope is that I'll be able to carry this on through next semester.
I will
But
carry the hope as well. I have faith in you.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks. I don't really have faith in myself, but I'm glad to know that you have faith.
It's okay. I have enough faith for the both of us. Okay, maybe not for me. I'll just give it to you.
Oh. What? But how was it for you? Because obviously you were in more of a social environment and stuff like that. So, yeah, go on then.
I definitely feel like I also had a lot more time. Not just because of the pandemic, just because like my classes were more spaced out. They didn't take as much time. Like in high school, you were so restricted to like 8 to like 3 p.m. every day. But like in college, you could like adjust your schedule as you wanted and like set your classes at certain times. I don't think my work habits changed as much as yours, honestly. But
I mean, like, I'm not expecting a lot of people to be like, oh, my work ethics changed and I'm a whole new person. Like, I'm definitely not a whole new person. The pandemic just gave me, like, an excuse, kind of, to be like, yeah, I'm gonna get everything done way ahead of time and then waste the next few hours of my life, scrolling through YouTube or, looking into just, like, other things that aren't my academics. So, obviously, like, I'm hoping that these habits stay a part of me, that I do continue with the good work ethic and, not procrastinating, because that was, like, a major problem for me. But, I don't know, I just feel like, the pandemic kind of just helped me with my work habits, like, as a baseline, kind of.
one good thing out of the pandemic, like you said.
Facts.
I also feel similar in like the sense that I wanted to work harder. Like I was very unsatisfied with my high school performance. Like if you
Same.
compare my grades now to what I got in high school, like I'd probably be at a different school if I like channeled this much into like my assignments and stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like high school, there's a reason that we, don't, I feel like there's a reason that we have bad habits in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that stems from like the pressure or just the constant thought of it being like, oh, every single move counts for college, right? Like that kind of pressure is unhealthy, which leads to unhealthy habits, right? And it's something that like back then we didn't realize that it was an unhealthy habit because obviously we had nothing to compare it to. Like you can't just sit there and compare it to middle school and be like, oh, in middle school I wasn't this stressed. Like it's middle school. Of course you weren't that stressed. Right? But yeah, no, high school, like, whoa, my voice just cracked. But no, back to like the point in high school, it's just there's so much more pressure and there's so much more like tension. I feel like everyone is both physically and mentally stressed out in high school because obviously we're all, you know, competing for college acceptances and we're all, the majority of us, I mean some of us obviously choose different paths in life, but the majority of us do end up going to college, and it's just so much, you know, I hate to keep using the word pressure, but pressure. But yeah, no, I feel like from my point of view, one of the things I saw about you change that I talked about, like I said this multiple times before, but you just seemed so much happier and kind of lighter when we used to catch up while the semester was still going on. And, you know, that's just nice to see. It's nice to see that there is a change after high school. Like, it does get better. I feel like a lot of high schoolers don't understand that. And obviously we didn't understand that things do get better and that college is a little more relaxed, I would say. Because obviously we have more time and we can manage our schedule a lot easier. But yeah, you know, high school is just one big confusing bubble. It's very frustrating, it's very upsetting, it's very stressful. It's, you know, there's a lot of bad adjectives I could use to describe high school. But yeah, it's just the idea of like working towards college and finally getting there and everything. Once you are at this point, a lot of that stress and a lot of that tension is relieved, and it just feels a lot better, you know? But yeah. And I think this is something that we wanted to, you know, go a lot more into depth on when we do a series on mental health, hopefully, right? And mental health in high school is something that I feel like nowadays more people definitely talk about, but it's still hard to open up in that stage of life and kind of be like, yeah, I'm frustrated, upset, angry because of, you know, this, and this. And it's just, as I said, very confusing bubble. But it's nice to be out of that. It's nice to be in college now and finally be like, yes, we're in college. We're, you know, finally achieved that goal that we had been working towards through high school. Ooh, let's talk about first days. So, how nervous were you? Be honest, how nervous were you on your first day of college? Even though it was all Zoom classes and stuff and you really didn't have to see anyone in person, how nervous were you?
I honestly wasn't nervous. I just didn't know what to expect. Like, I didn't know how much, like, there would be in the syllabus. I am serious. I was not nervous.
How? I was sitting there sweating. And you have to, okay, to give you, like, a visual, right? My first class was an 8:30 a.m. chem class, okay? It's, like, first thing in the morning. I'm in, like, my pajamas. Actually, no. On the first day, I actually got up and showered for this class. Like, I wasn't going anywhere, but for some reason...
You had to shower.
I got up, I showered for it, I ate breakfast. I was like, yes, okay. And I feel like regardless of doing all of that, I was so nervous. 8:30 in the morning, and I'm sitting in my chair right here, just sweating. Like, sweating. Because I was so nervous. I don't know why I was nervous. It was, you know, it's a Zoom class. I'm at home. I'm not even on, like, a campus away from my family or anything. My mom's literally next door in the room next to me. But I am sitting there sweating so hard and freaking out over this, first day of school thing. But
No, but
yeah,
that's
no, you
valid because, like,
you
it's a
are
huge
lying if you
step.
said
I
you weren't
am not
nervous.
lying. I don't know what to tell you. I was sitting in a hotel room because I was in quarantine and I was eating Lucky Charms, and my first class was at like 9 and it was calc. And I've already been through calc, so I'm just sitting there and they're talking about like absolute values and stuff, and I'm just enjoying my Lucky Charms. Like, I don't know what to tell
Oh my
you. I wasn't
god.
nervous.
I'm kind of jealous of your ability to like not be nervous because man, I was sitting there sweating. Bro, when I tell you I was, and this is like we started in August because we're on semester
Right.
system, so it's still summer, and obviously like with since I was in California, we were still in the middle of our heat wave and the fires and everything were still
Oh,
going
that was the
on.
time.
That
I
was
left right in time.
what? Yeah. But so it was very hot even at like 8:30 in the morning, and that just added to the sweat and like the downpour. Just like
I'm so
absolute.
sorry.
I was just sitting there like freaking out, just sweating. But yeah, no, that was an experience. And like now that I think about it, there was nothing to be nervous about. It was a Zoom class. I wasn't going to this class in person. I wasn't meeting new people. I wasn't going to see a professor. I wasn't going to like have anything to worry about. But for some reason I was sitting there sweating, just straight up sweating.
I think the reason why it was easy for me to adjust is because we left high school, excuse me, doing distance learning and like being
Facts.
on Zoom, and like we were going into college on Zoom. So like it was basically the same thing, just with like different people and like different content. So
Right.
yeah.
No, I get that, but I don't know. Just personally, I was just sitting
I
there
think it was
sweating
just
like a
chem.
pig, bro. Maybe it was just chem. Maybe chem.
What did chem
Ooh,
do to
chem.
you?
Oh, bro, trust me. So, sophomore year chem was not it. Sophomore year chem was yikes, big yikes. Oh my gosh. But I don't think I don't think it was chem. I think I was just being a nervous wreck for no reason. But yeah, nothing to worry about now. I mean, we're still on Zoom classes. It's, we'll be in second semester, and for me a month, for
Hmm.
you a month and a half, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So, nothing to worry about. It's fine. So, past Brenda, why were you so nervous? Oh my gosh, what an embarrassment! I was such an embarrassment to myself.
It's fine. I mean, like, you can't really control those things, so, like, all good.
I feel like we'll have a lot of these moments on the podcast where we just sit here and expose ourselves. Honestly, for the viewers or listeners, I guess, if you're on Spotify. I forget that some people are going to be listening on Spotify and not like seeing us. But for everyone that's listening, I guess, y'all better tune in for more episodes because we will be exposing ourselves.
Indeed, we will.
Speaking of exposing ourselves, for
Oh,
anyone
no.
that is watching, no, I mean, I guess this isn't exposing myself because I'm not going to talk about it right now.
Okay.
But for anyone that's watching this on YouTube and has known me while I had hair, I will address this in a future podcast. Maybe not today, but surprise?
Someday.
I straight up look like I'm from the 80s because I'm rocking a very bad mullet right now. Oh my gosh.
It looks great.
Thanks.
It looks great.
Thanks. I've been, not really taking care of my hair.
It's fine.
It's just doing its thing. I'm just letting it grow, It's a big mess, and I'm sure there will be many moments in the future when we film this podcast where it does its like full I haven't washed it in a couple days, exposing myself here, but I haven't washed it in a couple days, so it's kind of like a little flatter, but there are some days when it looks like I'm growing a bucket hat on my head. So for the future, people who are watching, if it looks like I'm growing a bucket hat on my head, don't say anything. Just don't say anything. But yeah. Anyway, moving past that.
Oh, I had a question. It might not take that long to answer, but did you have a favorite class and did you have a least favorite class?
Ooh, okay. I don't think I particularly enjoyed any of my class. This sounds really bad. But I am an engineering major, and in order to be an engineering major, there's a lot of prerequisite classes you need to take, such as math and physics and just like GEs. Oh my gosh. We should rant about GEs for one of the podcasts. Maybe we'll do it today.
All the way.
But you know, obviously there's a lot of prerequisites that we have to take, and oh my gosh, the fact that I'm an engineering major and I have yet to take a class that's anything remotely related to engineering. I mean, unless you count math, but math is math, you know?
Math is math.
So, I have not taken an engineering class yet, and will not be taking an engineering class until fall 2021. So, next semester as well, no engineering classes. Nothing. I'm just taking math and science and GEs. So, I wouldn't say, back to the actual question of the favorite and least favorite, this semester in particular, I don't think I had a particular class where I was like, wow, I'm so excited to go to this class. I can't wait. I don't think I had a class like that, but I did have very good professors. Like,
That's really
four
good.
of the classes I took, all four professors I had were very helpful, very kind, very welcoming, you know, just all around great people. And you can tell that they really want, I feel like that's one of the differences between high school and college, by the way. You know, not to throw shade at any of our past high school teachers, but in college, the professors are there because they genuinely are so in love with the subject that they want to teach other people about the subject. And you can tell because the majority, or like so far at least, the professors that I have been very passionate about teaching the subject, that whatever they're teaching, and you know, are there to help. They know that it's tough and that we're in a pandemic and that, you know, college is just an all around tough place to be and tough place to succeed in. But all four professors I had were amazing in the sense that they were there to help, and they were there to make sure that they, you know, provided you with every resource and everything that they could to kind of help you towards succeeding. But yeah, no, my favorite professor would probably have been, I don't want to drop her name because I don't know if she would be comfortable with me talking about her in a podcast without her knowing. Imagine she watches this one day and she's just like, But she taught my seminar type class. I had to take a general education seminar type class, and she was the professor for it. And I wasn't really expecting much from that class, but she was amazing. The sweetest lady you could ever imagine. Like, she was so kind and so passionate, so enthusiastic to be with us all the time. And, you know, like, in the class itself, oh my god. Can we just talk about how she, on the first day of class, she straight up told us that she doesn't believe in testing.
I love that. That's enough. That's all you need.
She was like, I'm never going to give you guys quizzes. I'm never going to give you guys tests because I just don't believe that accurately measures your intelligence, you know, or how hard you work or anything. And on top of that, she was like, she didn't make us buy any textbooks or anything. You know how college textbooks are like such a pain to get?
Yes, and they're so expensive.
So expensive for no reason. She was like, I don't believe that you guys have to sit here, you know, pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to come get this education and then pay like hundreds more just to get the textbooks, like the materials. So she ended up giving us all the resources we needed for that class for free. And it was like, obviously from a financial standpoint, that's amazing. But just from like a professor, or like not a professor, but like from a like that was just so nice of her to even consider and like mention to us, and just it's just insane to think that she would do something like that for us. So best professor ever. I doubt I'll ever come across a professor that's going to be as amazing as she was.
Fingers crossed, though.
But yeah, least favorite class, by the way, calculus.
Really?
2, pain. I mean, not because it was like a bad class or anything. Just the subject matter, the content of that class is so confusing and frustrating. It's just integrals. Anyone who's taken calc, by the way, or is taking calc or will be taking calc, oh my god. Pain. Pain. That's all I have to say. Pain. Calculus 2, pain. But yeah, least favorite class, calc. Just because it was a pain. But honestly, like, still enjoyed all of my classes. Still had a great first semester, regardless of the fact that we were in a pandemic. But yeah, how about you? What were your favorite and least favorite?
I honestly liked all of my classes, but my favorite would probably be CS 120, which was the basics of like computer programming in a certain language and learning about hardware. Oh, device is too hot. Video quality will be affected.
Yikes. Anyone watching on YouTube? Sorry. But continue.
Yeah. So I'm not like exactly thrilled about hardware because I am a computer science major and like I'd rather be coding than like, playing with wires. But
ouch, I'm a mechanical engineer.
I'm sorry.
No, I get it though. Everyone has different interests.
Everyone has
passions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but continue. I don't want to play with the wires.
I really don't.
Guys, we're canceling the podcast. Gabby and
Oh, because of me?
No, I'm kidding. But go on.
Okay. What was I saying?
How you didn't like playing with wires?
Okay. I thought I wouldn't like playing with wires. But this teacher, like this prof, he explained everything so well. He used like a ton of analogies to like make everything easier. I don't know if I should name drop, but his name is Madden. Madden, if you're watching this, you're great. So yeah, like now I kind of like working with circuits, and I learned a little bit about how like computers understand code, and I also learned how to program in C, which is a really like cool language. I didn't think it was before this class. So that's good. Least favorite class? Ironically, it is a CS class, but this is because
Gabby.
Wait. Wait, let me finish. So we didn't do any coding in this class. Yeah. It was CS 101, like baseline CS, not even CS. Every day, every Tuesday, for 2 hours straight, we would sit in a Zoom call and hear from speakers. And, like, the speakers were, like, cool, I guess, but, like, they'd all talk about the same thing, and they'd use, like, really complicated terminology, so you wouldn't have any idea what they were talking about anyway. And this would go on for, like, 2 hours, and sometimes, like, our prof would give us, like, quizzes and be like, who said what, and when was the presentation given? And I'd just be like, what kind of a quiz is this? It doesn't even relate.
That almost sounds like history, where they're like, oh, who said this? And what was the date? And, like, it's just things that you wouldn't expect to need to know.
Like, I don't know what to do with that information. Like, I think straight up one of the questions on one of our quizzes was, like, who told us to write in blue and black ink? Like, who cares?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I didn't have any classes like that. So.
Good for you.
So I got out of that.
I hope you
But
never
wow.
have classes like that. Like, nobody should have to deal with that.
Yeah, honestly, when you're in college and you're paying for an education, like people have to realize you are paying thousands and thousands of dollars for this education, right? Like the classes should be good.
Right.
It's kind of like if you paid for a product and you didn't receive a product that was up to your standards or what you expected, surely you're not going to keep it, right?
Right.
You're going to return it. We can't do that with the college education, which is kind of upsetting when you have a bad class,
Right.
but nothing you can do about it. Just pray that all your professors are good and all your classes are good. But yeah, man,
Imagine being able to return a course. That would be so
that'd be
convenient.
that'd be so funny. But I feel like, oh, you know what would be the problem with that? They'd probably take away your credits for it, whatever credits you
Oh,
earned.
that's true.
And then you'd have to do more courses anyway.
Yeah.
So you're just like living through so many courses because you need to get your credits to graduate. But because some courses suck and some
Right.
But yeah. Uh, anyway, I did mention general education courses in my
Yes.
thing. And this is something that I feel like a lot of college students can relate to, where gen ed courses are a pain.
They are the end of us.
They're so painful. Like, I don't need chemistry. I'm a mechanical engineering
Right,
major.
right.
Like, to anyone that's watching that was in my chem class, or if the professor for some reason is watching this, the class was great. I have nothing against the class itself. I just don't need chemistry.
Right.
I'm a mechanical engineering major. I will not be using chemistry in my life. But yeah. Why am I taking it? Because it's a general education requirement. GEs are the end of college students. Like, I'm wasting time.
Right.
I'm wasting time and I'm wasting money going to college just to do GEs. I could be taking actual engineering classes by now if I didn't have GEs to get rid of first. Unfortunately, I have GEs to get rid of first. But yeah, and I know, I don't know how your college does it, but I feel like various colleges have, like, slightly different general ed requirements. So, for me, personally, like, chemistry is a general ed requirement. Writing is a general ed requirement.
Same.
And I have, like, that seminar class I told you about, that is a general ed requirement, right? And it's just such a pain, because it's like, I don't need this stuff. I want to get to the part where I can actually learn how to engineer things. But yeah, general eds,
not it.
Not a fan of them. Not a fan of them. They're big yikes.
I feel like what pains me the most about, like, gen eds is the fact that, like, you came into college likely, I mean, like, I know some people go in undecided, but, like, in our case, we didn't. Like, no, we knew that we were passionate about something, but we still have to endure, like, through things that we might not be as passionate about. Like, It's nice, like, when you get to, like, pick your gen eds, but, like, you only get so many options to do so, and you'll end up, like, taking some classes that you don't like, and some classes that aren't related to what you want to, like, pursue as a career, which is kind of frustrating.
I get that, and I feel like one of the things about gen eds is that I think in college particularly, gen eds just shouldn't really be a requirement.
Right.
Because in high school, it's understandable, because obviously you want students to be exposed to as much as possible so that they can pick a career that, or, like, major that suits them or that they are really interested in, right? So it makes sense. And obviously, people should have general knowledge in a variety of subjects. So it makes sense in high school. But when you get to college and, as you said, if you're not undecided and you do have a major in mind that you are working towards, I feel like gen eds don't really help you get to your goal or, fulfill your major requirements or anything. It's just kind of there because you have to do it for credits. But yeah. Gen eds are low-key a scam in college. It's just a way for them to get you to be in college longer, so you pay them more money to be
Facts. Now that I think about it.
Right, Gen Eds are a scam. You heard it here first, guys. Gen Eds are a scam.
We cracked the code.
We've I feel like plenty of people know this. but yeah, no. Gen Eds, big scam. But if you are undecided, I mean, I guess Gen Eds are very good for that, because obviously you can be exposed to college level material and course stuff that prepares you for the real world in a variety of courses. But I just personally think it would be so much nicer if there was an option, you know, to be like,
Right.
oh, do you have a major? Then you don't need to do the Gen Ed.
Right.
All of your Gen Ed courses. If you don't, if you're undecided, take your Gen Eds. Do your Gen Ed. Go to your chem class, your physics class, your math class. Figure out what you like to do. But yeah. Anyway, moving on.
To what?
Sorry, no, I got really distracted because my window's open, so I have light in this room, and my neighbors, are, I think, leaving to walk their dogs, and I got distracted because the garage door opened. So I was kind of like, what are we doing again?
We're podcasting.
Oh yeah, we're filming a podcast.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. But yeah. Maybe this is a good time to talk about why we're doing this podcast. I feel like
you're more qualified to answer that than me.
Okay, well, I mean, my answer is literally I've wanted to do a podcast for a while. Like, if there's one thing that I can do, it's talk. And anyone that knows me in real life will know this. The fact that all I do is talk. And, like, obviously, as I get older and, like, you know, middle school, high school, college, I know to kind of, you know, not talk as much. But man, when I was a child, there was no boundaries. I was always talking. My mom got so many complaints for me talking.
From who? Oh.
You know, it's just, but yeah, we started the podcast because I always go to Big Gibber here whenever I have some kind of weird idea that I want to execute, because Gabby's always on board. So love that from her.
Because they're good ideas. So love that for you.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Would you like to give an example?
Not particularly. We've definitely had some ideas that are just a little bit concerning. But yeah, I was, you know, recently, with having a lot of time in the pandemic, I was like, you know, listening to podcasts because I have nothing better to do with my life. And then, you know, I figured, hey, I could do that. I could talk for a couple hours, you know? And texted Gabby, was like, hey, Gib, do you want to start a podcast? And she was like, down? ?
Yeah, that's accurate.
And, you know, here we are, starting a podcast. But yeah, no, but I feel like there are other reasons, you know, just being able to kind of reach out to people that are in high school or are in college.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of just like, it's nice to be able to reach out to those people and, you know, be like, hey, this is our experience. Hopefully you can learn from it. Or, you know, laugh at us, I guess, if that's what you want to do.
I feel like that's what most people are going to do.
Oh, yeah, no. Especially for the people watching on YouTube that see my 1980s mullet. Laugh. Go for it. I don't mind at all. I have thick skin. Laugh all you want. But yeah, you know, if you're here to laugh at us, go for it. If you're here to be informed, I'm glad that we could inform you about something or, you know, help you learn from our mistakes or our experiences. And on top of that, I just feel like a podcast is a very good way to document our growth as we kind of make our way through college and, as our title states, the game of life. But, yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're starting a podcast. Just to reach out to people, talk, have something to do when we're in a pandemic, stuck at home.
Hopefully it doesn't last any longer, though.
For real, though. Like, thank God 2020's over, but who knows what 2021 has planned for us.
Something better,
yeah.
I hope.
Hopefully, COVID decides to just disappear. That would be great. I'd be fine with that. I don't think it's gonna happen, but we do have vaccines coming out now and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe we will be able to film this in person soon, which would be great. The goal should be we get the neon sign.
Yeah. Ultimate goal.
The ultimate goal for this podcast is just one neon sign that has the Game of Life on it. If we get the neon sign, we're ending it. Imagine we just end the podcast when we get the sign.
Just because of the sign.
Just because of the sign. We put it in one podcast and then we're like, yep, we're done. Or the podcast, it's over. But yeah. That's why we started the podcast, I guess.
I don't know how to transition, but I do have a question.
Go for it.
Have you joined any clubs on campus?
Oh, I haven't actually, and I'm gonna expose myself here.
Of course you are.
I wanted to join a couple clubs. Missed the first meeting. Missed the second meeting. Missed every meeting after the first two.
It's fine.
So I mean, hopefully I'll join next semester or next year maybe, and not just completely miss the meetings. But yeah, no, I have not joined any clubs. Have you though?
So I signed up to work on my campus newspaper as a photographer, but because everything's done remotely, they only have like so many photo assignments, and they have like 20 photographers, and like the system is like the photo editor like gives a list of assignments. Usually they're like 3, and then people just call dibs on it, and most of them are off campus, and whenever they are on campus, somebody takes it before I can. So I've done nothing for student newspaper.
Watch one of them listen to this and be
oh my god, I really hope not.
And run to the editor-in-chief. Gabby did nothing this whole semester.
It's not my fault.
Wait, so you said the newspaper, but you also said you were on the yearbook.
Hold up, my phone is slipping. Okay, keep going.
But you did mention that you were also on the yearbook for your school, right? So for anyone that doesn't know us from before, Gabby and I were both on yearbook in high school. So I do want to hear what you have to say about college yearbook and how that's been going, especially in a pandemic where, yearbook is all about like going out and talking to people and, taking pictures of events and things like that. Things that obviously we can't do right now because of COVID. But how has yearbook been?
So I've done none of those things. I haven't gone out, I haven't talked to people, and I haven't taken photos. Essentially what my job...
So is this a you problem or a pandemic problem, Gabby?
Calling me out. No.
I mean, you just talked about how you did nothing for newspaper.
Okay, wait.
The people want to know, Gabby. The people want to know.
Do they want to know? People want to hear about me.
People are just here to no, it's just the only people listening are the people that work with you.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay.
And they're gonna be like, all right, so take notes on this. Yeah, next semester, Gabby. But anyway, continue.
So how yearbook works in my school is it's not really a student publication. Usually what they do is they hire like 1 or 2 interns, and they do like small things like take a couple of photos, write a few blurbs, that's it. Like, it's not the traditional high school yearbook, like, where each person works on a certain number of, like, pages and, like, does all of the work on them. So I told my supervisor, I didn't work as an intern, I just helped out with design stuff, because that's what I wanted to do, because I do graphic design on the side. So all I did for the yearbook was design the cover and like a couple of end sheets, and like I gave the book a theme, and that's pretty much all I did for the yearbook.
Solid,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, sounds pretty chill. Sounds a lot more chill than high school yearbook.
High school yearbook was an experience.
It was, and we should definitely talk
Yearbook
about that in a
episode.
future podcast. Maybe we'll have an episode where we talk about high school yearbook. I mean, I don't have like, any I necessarily like regrets. I would say I don't have any
Same.
regrets about that. I think it was definitely a good experience, but there
For sure.
were parts of it where it just kind of gets messy, gets chaotic. As
We had a few hiccups.
yeah, good way to say it. Good way to say it. But yeah, no, we'll definitely cover that in a future episode maybe, and just talk about how yearbook was a very interesting experience. But yeah. Anyway, moving on from that. So you were on newspaper. You were part of yearbook.
Mhm.
Any clubs in besides those two?
I am in a programming club at my school where they do like weekly workshops. And since a lot of my friends are CS majors, like we go to the workshops and they're held on Discord. And like we work through them for like an hour. Those have been pretty chill.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
wouldn't know because I miss all my club meetings.
oh, I also have crashed like a couple of club meetings. Like I have a group chat and people are like, "Come to my club meeting. We need more people to show up." So I'll show up.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's also like I feel like it's so much easier to forget about a club meeting when it's
Right.
on Zoom and it's,
Because
you're, like,
everything's
at
on
home.
Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's on Zoom, and it's just like, yes, I'm subscribed to the email list and everything,
Right.
but I still forget. Because it's not something where, I'm actively talking to people that are also interested in the club or are part of the club, and they're like, hey, like, in high school when you're part of a club, they kind of nudge you, and they're like, you going to the meeting today, right?
Yeah.
In a pandemic, in college, where I know no one because I was stuck at home my entire first semester, it's kind of hard to remember that there were club meetings. So, to all the clubs that I was going to join, I'm sorry.
It's okay. They don't need to know.
But yeah, they don't need to know. It's fine.
You're not name dropping them either, so like it's all
Next
good.
semester, maybe I'll join a couple clubs. Maybe next semester when we recap our first year of college, I'll be like, remember those clubs? Finally join them. We'll see though. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But hopefully. Oh, but yeah. What about I was gonna ask you, what about sports? But then I realized no sports are going on because of the pandemic, and on top of that, neither of us are really doing college sports. Because for some reason, I was still in that high school mindset where it's like, oh, you go try out, and we were on school sports team and stuff. But obviously, college sports are a lot different. We should. Oh my god! By the way, this is a good time to talk about how we will have guests in the future, which we are very excited for. So yeah, maybe we'll bring on someone who is, doing a college sport and have them talk about sports in college and compare it to their high school experience.
I don't know anyone, unfortunately.
I'm sure there's a few people. There's definitely a few people that we can reach out to from either our high school or...
The only kid I know from our high school is the one who got into Brown and messed everything up. I'm not name dropping.
I'm gonna watch this back and see my realization. But oh my god, Gabby.
I'm just saying.
No, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're... Well, not name drop, but I feel like some people will remember who this is. I think that kid is doing better now, though. I'm sure...
Are they?
Let's not talk about it.
Okay.
We'll just move on. How's your day been? Yeah.
Oh, speaking of sports. So my brother went to the same college I'm currently going to, and he rowed. And my mom really wants me to row and start a tradition where everyone in the family rows while they're in college. But I don't think I'm going to do that.
Wait, please join the rowing team.
No! Bruh. They row, like, in the winter, I think. Like, I can't do that. Like, I get cold, like, standing around.
Wait, please.
No! Oh, shit, my phone.
Wait. Oh my gosh, I need to get people to convince you to join.
No!
For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, please comment
No.
and get Gabby to join the rowing team.
I'm not joining the rowing team.
Join the rowing team, Gabby. Oh my gosh, that would be so funny, because I feel like rowing is such a, like, it's not a sport a lot of people talk about, you know?
Right.
I cannot imagine you.
Same.
Wow, now I really want you to start rowing. Please.
The closest thing I've done to rowing is paddleboarding. And, like, I lasted, like, 15 minutes and my arms were sore. You expect me to do rowing?
Competitively as well.
Competitively.
Oh my gosh, what a time. Well, I think we'll maybe wrap the podcast up early today. We are aiming to go a little longer for future podcasts, but today we just don't have a lot necessarily to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But we hope you enjoyed. This is obviously our first podcast, so please go easy on us. We don't know what we're doing.
The comments are gonna, like, roast us.
Who
do they think they are?
You already know that the only people commenting on this are going to be our parents who are watching this.
I'm not exposing myself to my parents.
We're going to be logged into our parents' account just commenting on our own podcasts. It's like, great job. But hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully we will see more people for our next podcast. We are considering bringing guests on in the future. Maybe the next podcast will have a guest. It most probably won't, because we don't know anyone that was willing to come on our very sketchy podcast. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully we'll come up with a better ending next time as well. We have a lot of hope for this podcast. I feel like we're not gonna get anywhere. You know what? No. It's good. Having hope for this podcast is great.
Yes. A good start.
Good start. Great first podcast, guys. We're just gonna... Our friends are just gonna text us like, what was that? But anyway, thanks for joining us on the Game of Life. Any last words, Gabby?
We should have a catchy ending.
We should.
But I don't know what.
We should. We'll come up with something. In the future. You know, like 10 episodes into this.
Thanks for playing the Game of Life.